Hello everyone, this is Neha Sisodia, Assistant Professor at New LJ Institute of Engineering and Technology. We are going to discuss more on cost estimation in our query processing and optimization in database management system. So we'll continue our discussion on query optimization in this session also. And we'll see what this cost based estimation, what we have seen so far is there. So consider if we have to find the best join order of R1, R2, Rn, we have to join all these relations together. We can have 2 into n minus 1 factorial by n minus 1 factorial different join orders that can be possible. So suppose for a shorter value, if we have n is equal to 7, the number of possibilities will be this much huge. So we will have 6,65,280 values. If it turns on to be 10, then the number will be even higher, 167 billion, 176 billions. For now. So we need to generate all the join orders using dynamic programming, and least cost join order for the subset of R1 to Rn has to be computed once, and it can be stored for future use. Now what we can do is, the another solution for this is we can use dynamic programming for optimization. In order to do that, what we can do is we can find the best join tree of the set of n relations that we have to join. So to find the best plan for set S of n relations, what we have to consider is we have to consider all the possible plans of the form S1 join S minus S1. That is, for all the rest of the relations we have to see which is the best join what we can perform with. And recursively what we have to do is we have to compute the joining subset of S to find the cost of each plan. So what we have to get here is the cheapest one, that is 2 to the power n minus 1 alternative. We have to choose one which is the cheapest one. So when the plan is for any subset which we are computing, we have to store it and we have to reuse it for our future use. And then when it is required, instead of recomputing, what we can use is we can use dynamic programming. So let's see if we have the left deep join tree. So right-handed input of each join is a relation and not the result of an intermediate join. So suppose if we have R1, R2 right from the left depth, we have performed R1 and R2 join, then R3, then R4, and then R5. If we want to convert it into a semi-shared join, that means it is not skewed towards any one side. What we can do is we can decrease the depth of this so that we can have an intermediate result, and we can perform the join more efficiently. So what is the cost optimization here? So with dynamic programming, the time complexity of optimization would be a Bushy tree as order of n to the power 3 to the power n. So n is, if 10, then the number is 59,000 instead of 176 billion as we have seen. And the space complexity is order of 2 to the power n. That is why we have used a binary tree. So definitely that will be order of 2 to the power n. So to find the best left deep join tree for the set of n relations, what we have to do is we have to consider n alternatives with one relation at right hand side as an input and the other relations at the left hand side as the input. So using this recursively, we have to compute and store the least cost join, and for each alternative on the left hand side, we have to choose the cheapest one as an n alternative. So if the left deep tree is considered, the time complexity of finding the best join will be of order n to the power n into 2 to the power n, and the space complexity, that is the space required or the memory required to store that will be order of 2 to the power n. So the cost based optimization is actually expensive, but it is worthwhile for the queries of large data sets if typically the query is have a small n, generally less than 10, then also. So coming to heuristic optimization, cost-based optimization, as we have seen, is an expensive job. So even with dynamic programming, if we can use, then what we can do is the systems may use heuristic to reduce the number of choices that must be made in the cost-based fashion. So what we have to do in order to do that? So the transformation in the heuristic optimization case, the query tree, by using a set of rules that typically improves the execution performance, we have to see not all the cases but few of them that can contribute to performance evaluation to be upgraded. So what we have to do is perform the selection earlier, reduce the number of tuples, then perform projection early, reduce the number of attributes. Then what you have to do is perform the most restrictive selection and join operation before other similar operations. So if the most critical one is done, then we are almost done. Rather than moving on with the similar operations that we have in our entire query. So some systems we only use heuristics, and other combine the heuristic with partial cost-based optimization. So there are certain steps that we have to follow. The deconstruct conjunctive selection into some sequence of single selection operations, and we have to, in the second step, have to move the selection operations down the query tree and for the earliest possible execution. Then the execution first has to be done for selection and join operation that will produce the smallest set of relations. So I've already mentioned these equivalence rules that you can get and refer into the steps, and then we have to replace the Cartesian product operations that are followed by selection condition by join operation, and deconstruct and move as far the tree as the possible list of projection and attributes are there, then creation of new projection wherever it is needed. Then we have to identify the subtrees whose operation can be pipelined. As we have seen, the pipelining is one of the critical part of query execution, and then we can execute them using this pipeline. Now coming to the structure of the query optimizer, what we can have is the heuristic optimization used in some of the versions of Oracle that we have repeatedly picked up is best relation to join the next. So starting from each of the n starting points, we have to pick the best among these. So for scanning using secondary indices, some of the optimizers take into account the probability that the page containing the tuple is in the buffer. The intricacies of SQL complicate the query optimization, such as nested subqueries. So some of the query optimizers actually integrate heuristic selection and the generation of alternative access plans also. So even though we use heuristic optimization, cost-based query optimization imposes a substantial overhead, and this is expensive, usually more than offset by saving query execution time, and particularly when we are reducing the number of slow disk accesses. So coming to optimizing the nested subqueries, how it can be done. So SQL conceptually treats nested subqueries in where clause as functions that take parameters and return a single value or a set of values. So parameters are actually variables of outer level query that are used in the nested subquery in order to get the variables. So that will be correlation of those variables. And you must have seen the correlated queries also. So in these correlation variables, what we can see here is select customer name and we have to select it from borrow, but we have given the reference of borrow in the inner query or the subquery also. So that is why these variables are correlated. And conceptually what happens is, in nested subquery, when is executed for each tuple in the cross product is generated by the outer level from clause. So such evaluation are actually called as correlated evaluation. And we should have a note over there that the other conditions in where may be used to compute a join instead of a cross product before executing the nested subquery. Now, the correlated evaluation may be quite inefficient when the large number of calls may be made to the nested query, or there may be unnecessarily random input-output of the result. And SQL Optimizer actually attempt to transform the nested queries to join where possible and enabling use of efficient join techniques, as we have discussed previously. Now, for an example, in the earlier nested query, it can be rewritten as the customer name borrow join. This will not be a join, that will be a Cartesian product followed by a condition where we have a condition that depositor of customer name and borrow dot customer name should be same. So the above query does not correctly deal with the duplicates, but can be modified to do so as and when it is required. So sometimes it is always be less expensive when we are using a Cartesian product rather than making a join or a subquery or a nested subquery rather. So in general, it is not possible or straightforward to move the entire nested subquery from the clause to outer level of the query from clause. So temporarily the relation can be created instead, and we can have the outer level query. So in our example, the original nested query would be transformed to create table T1 as distinct customer name from depositor, and we have to select customer name from borrower T1, where T1 dot customer name, that is borrower dot customer name, will be equal to the borrower that we have already been there. So the process of replacing this nested query by a query with a join, and we have made it a temporary relation, that will be called as decorrelation. So decorrelation is actually more complicated when the nested query uses some aggregation function, when the result of nested query is used for test of equality, or when the condition is linking the nested query for other queries that do not exist. And there are a few others what we have not discussed here. Now materialized view is actually a view whose contents are computed and stored. As in the previous one, we have seen that we have a temporary relation that we have used for decorrelating the values in the where clause from the from clause. So similarly, the materialized view will have the view whose contents are computed and stored. So for an example, if we consider a view what created a view that branch total loan. So what we have here is we have two different values to create here, and what we are creating this view from is select branch name and the total amount that we want to select from loan and group by this branch name. So ultimately what we are creating the table as the resultant of this query. So materializing the above view would be very useful if we are frequently using the loan amount. So what we can save our effort of finding the multiple tuples by just adding up their amounts. So coming to the maintenance of this materialized view, the task of keeping this materialized view up to date with underlying data is known as materialized view maintenance, and this can be done by recomputation on every update. The better option of using this is incremental view maintenance, where the changes to the database relation are used to compute changes to materialized view which has been updated. So view maintenance can be done by manually defining the triggers on insert, delete and update of each of the relation that we have defined as in view, and manually writing a code for updating and viewing whenever the database is updated for those relations, and supported directly by the database. Now coming to the incremental view maintenance, the changes or the inserts or deletes that we usually made into a relationship, to relations to expressions, and it is referred to as differential. So the set of tuples inserted or we have deleted, we have denoted it as IR and DR. So to simplify our description, what we have seen here is we can consider the inserts and deletes, and we can replace the updates only with those tuples. That will be incremental view maintenance. Now we describe how to compute the change to the result and each of the relation operation, and gives the change to its input. So we then outline how to handle the relational algebraic expression into this. So this is how we can handle this. Now coming to the handling of expressions, we have entirely an expression, and we have derived the expressions for computing the incremental change that we have made in order to have the smaller sub expressions. So consider E1 and E2, where each of E1 and E2 may be a complex expression. We can divide it into certain smaller values, and then we can maintain this join by making D1 join E2 for maintaining the joins. So query optimization and materialized view will be rewriting the queries of the materialized view in such a way that we can have an efficient way, or the cost estimate should have an alternative to be lesser expensive queries. So in materialized view, if we want to perform our join S, if it is available, and the user submits a query like this, so what we can rewrite this as a pre-calculated join as R and S, and then we can estimate it to the other values. Now replacing this materialized view by the view definition. So materialized view, as we have defined it as R join S, which is available to us. Now if the user submits a query that A is equal to 10, we have to get it from V. Suppose that S is an index on the common attribute B, and R is the index on an attribute R. So the best plan for this query to be executed is, which can lead to a query plan A is equal to 10, is we can filter it from R, and then we can join it to S. So the query optimizer should extend and consider all the above alternatives that can be chosen for the materialized plan. Now the materialized view selection, how it is made. So what is the best set of views to the materialize? The decision must be made on the basis of system workload. So it depends wholly solely on what system workload we have, and the indices are just like materialized views. The problem of index selection is closely related to that of materialized selection, although it is simpler to that. So a few of the database systems, they provide the tools to help the database administrator with index and materialized view, and sometimes it has to be done manually. So it should be wisely used and selected when we are using materialized view selection. Thanks for watching this video. In the next subsequent video, we are going to discuss on transaction processing.